What is up, guys? Winter Kills here, and coming at you with a brand new and updated Marincess deck profile post Chaos Impact. Just got the rest of the cards I needed in the mail today, the last two blue tangs, so finally have the deck pretty much complete and really excited to show you guys my list. I've had the opportunity to test this deck a lot on my stream the past couple weeks and months, and I've been really enjoying this deck overall. And haven't really played too many control decks lately outside of Satellar Knights, and I was playing this long before I decided to pick up Tellar Knights again. So it's very refreshing for me personally to be able to play a control deck like this one. So yeah, I really like this deck. I think it's underestimated. It does have its weak points, but I feel like the deck excels at recurring resources and just putting up fields that are going to be very hard for your opponent to break if they do not have that specific out they need. But yeah, before we go ahead and get into this profile, I want to mention a shout out to Imperium Duelist. If you guys are interested in this beautiful playmat that I'm rocking, or these sleeves that I'm rocking here on the main deck, and this beautiful blue tang looking even better in these pink heart sleeves, the charm sleeves from Imperium Duelist. If you guys are interested in picking any of these up, you can check out the link to their website down in the description below. Use that discount code WinterKills10 off to save 10% off your entire order. And if you're buying anything on TCG Player, maybe getting some blue tangs for yourself, whatever it may be sure to use my affiliate link down in the description below to help support me and the channel. So let's go ahead and get into the video. And to start, we have 3 copies of Marincess Blue Tang. Of course, this is a new card. Everybody knows the deal. The hyped up secret rare, as it would be. But basically, this is a level 4 Cyberse effect. If this card is normal or special summon, you can send 1 Marincess monster from your deck to the graveyard except itself. If this card is sent to the graveyard as material for the link summon of a water monster, you can excavate the top 3 cards of your deck, and if you do, you can add 1 of revealed Marincess card from your hand if you shuffle the rest into your deck. So this card does a lot. It's a Foolish Burial, and then it's like a Pot of Duality for Marincess cards. So this card does a lot for the deck. No wonder it's a secret rare. There's really no surprise there. Then we have 3 copies of Marincess Seahorse, the original go-to normal summon prior to Chaos Impact, but this card still is a 1-card link 3, but you can still pretty much pull off the same combo more or less with Blue Tang, because this dumps this card to the graveyard and add it back off of the blue slug and just continue the combo. It's a more efficient way to combo, because this can get you an additional card, and if you already have this in hand, this can get you an additional extender through Mandarin. So this card is still just as good as it was before. Still a 1-card link 3 in its own. Just special summon from your hand to his own a Marincess link monster points to, and then during your main phase, except the turn this card was sent to the graveyard, you can banish this card from your graveyard and special summon 1 water monster from your hand to your zone a Marincess link monster points to. So good late game effect there. Doesn't really come up too much though. I can say that I don't think I've resolved that effect that much. Then next we have 3 copies of Mandarin. I was playing this card at 2, but I think playing it at 3 is fine, because this with any other like Marincess extender is like really good. Just because this card can allow you to make a lot better fields, especially when you go into the link monster that gives you the field spell, because this makes this card live really fast. But basically, if you control 2 or more Marincess monsters while this card is in your hand or graveyard, you can target 1 water link monster you control, special summon this card to your zone that monster points to, but banish it when it leaves the field. So this card is kind of like a it's kind of like a spinny, if you will. It's kind of like Sea Archiver, if you will. It has a lot of uses. Sometimes if you open up Blue Tang with Seahorse, you just dump this to the graveyard for an extra extender, and you have a much better play. So we just have the 3 of each of the fish ladies. We just got 3 Mandarin, 3 Tang, 3 Seahorse. I think that's a pretty standard ratio for the most part. The only thing people might deviate on is the number of Mandarin. The next we have the Swap Frog engine. We got the Rana Cambio. Got triple. This is a really good engine alongside the Marincess engine, just because it gives us the ability to discard things to the graveyard, also playing the 1 Ronin and the 1 dupe. This is like the only time you'll ever see me play the dupe frog, just because the ability to be able to protect things from battle is enticing with Toad. You're not going to be able to pull off Toad like every turn, just because like most of the time you're going to be doing Marincess plays, and you're really going to only be able to pull off, swap plays if you have like the extra resources to do so. You just got to see a swap. But the reason I don't like the dupe is because it adds an extra garnet to our hand. I mean, worst case scenario, you set it, they destroy it, you get to search swap. So it couldn't be like that bad. But in theory, it's just really good because you can make it so they can only attack this, and then you get a search off of it if you still have targets left in deck. So Swap Frog engine, definitely definitely worth it in my opinion. I've seen some people running the Gen X engine, which is weird because it's a normal summon, so like I don't know, that kind of conflicts a little too much for me. And the last waters here, 1C Archiver. This card is a nice extender. It's kind of like a pseudo Mandarin. And this card can also be searched off of Cyanide Mining too, as they're all cybers, so this card I like a lot. Then 1 Testudo Arat Newman. This card, I didn't want to play this. I know if he's watching this video, he's going to be like jumping up and down his chair. Larry from Discord and Xylenced also. Those are 2 other people I know that have been testing. Xylenced Games, by the way, if you guys don't know him, check out his Twitch. But yeah, they've both been testing this card in Marincess. I like it, I guess. I really don't like it. I guess I'd just rather play this over a second C Archiver. But basically what this card does, while it's on the field, neither player can special summon monsters with 1800 or more attack. So basically what you do is you can dump this off of Swap Frog, since it is an Aqua, I believe. And you can just like revive it off of the Coral Anemone, and then you have yourself sort of like a little soft lock that your opponent can't break. And you can kind of protect with if you have like Dupe Frog up. So like this, it's a pretty potent card. Like I don't know if I took this deck to a tournament, I don't know if I'd play this in it, but yeah, it's a pretty decent card, I guess. Then the last 3 cards are just 3 hand traps, just 3 copies of Ash Blossom and the Joy's Feet. So yeah, 3 copies of those. You can play like any 3 hand traps: Phantasme, Crow, Valor, Ogre, Impermanence, whatever it may be. But yeah, that's it for my monster lineup. I got 3, 6, 9, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 monsters in total. So yeah, that's going to do it for the monsters. Now we'll head into the spells. And for the spells, we're rocking 3 copies of Cyanide Mining. I just had to pick up my 3rd one yesterday for like 40 some odd bucks. I know it sucks that this card is so expensive, but like you kind of just need it, and that's the bad part about it. I picked these 2 up originally for like 23s. I should have just picked up a playset at the time. So I should always get your playsets when you can, kids. Don't ever wait, because things will just go up, and if they go down, they go down. But if they go up, you're going to be really in a worse off spot, I guess. But yeah, you got to play this. Everything in here is pretty much Cybers, except for the Swap Engine and the Testudo, like, and the Ashes, obviously. But this is like your 6 copies of Tang or Seahorse. The next we have 3 copies of Call by the Grave. Hand traps do hurt this deck. Valor and Ogre and things like Ash really do slow you down a lot. So I think Call by is good. Then we have 2 copies of Battle Ocean. This card I've seen people play at 1. I think 2 is correct because a lot of times if you lose the first one, yes, you can recur it back. But if this card gets like Cosmic Cyclone or something happens to it where you can't get it back, like you need this card as a win condition, because it allows you to make your whatever's in the extra monster zone unaffected by card effects, if it was Link Summon using Crystal Heart. So like this card is really important, and you just kind of need it at 2 in my opinion. I think 3 would be way too much, but I think 2 is fine. Then for some 1-ups, we have Foolish Burial, we have Monster Reborn, and of course the 1 Upstart Hoban. Play that 39 card deck. So that's it for the spells. Then for the traps, 3 copies of Marincess Wave, and this is one reason you don't really need to play Impermanence in here. I guess you still could play it if you wanted to. I'm just playing different traps. This card is like a Impermanence on crack. Basically, if you control Marincess Link monster, target 1 face-up monster rolls, negate the effects. But if you control Link 2 Marincess, you can, after you resolve the first effect to negate something, everything else on your field, every monster you control, not Marincess monsters, literally just any monster, they're unaffected by card effects. And the last effect, if you control a Link 3 or higher, you can activate this card from your hand. Also, it's not a once per turn, or a hard once per turn. So you can like use this card. If you have 2 of these, you can use both of them. So this card is absolutely insane. Then next for the traps, we have 3 copies of Solemn Strike. I like Strike in here a lot. This card is so good. If you have to go second or going first, like just being able to like strike their big Link plays is so powerful. So I really do like Solemn Strike in here a lot. And then we have the Paleozoic stuff. I'm playing 2 Dinomischus and 2 copies of Canadia. I like these both in here. You could play whatever you want, really. You can play Compulse, you can play Judgment, you can play Heavy Storm Duster. There's a lot of different options, but I think these 2 different types of Paleos are nice. They can help you with making totally awesome if you need to, by of course its own effect, summoning themselves out of the grave in response to a trap. But you got Book of Moon, you got Karma Cut, so like they're both really good in their own right. So that's it for the traps, and the main deck I believe should be about 40 cards. Hopefully, if I can count to 40. Then now we'll go into the extra deck, and we'll start with the most of the non-Marincess links. We have 1 copy of Boral Sword, 1 copy of Avermax, and 1 copy of Borolo Dragon. Playing these cards in here are pretty much necessary because this deck has a hard time dealing with things like Avermax or Borolo in its own right. So you need to be able to play your own copies of these cards to be able to get around them. I couldn't stress that enough. Like, you need these in here. Maybe not Avermax, maybe not Boral Sword, but at least Borolo Dragon. I would highly recommend playing in here, especially if you make this with Crystal Heart. You can make it unaffected by card effects, which is busted. Same goes with like any of these other cards. So playing those 3 link 4s. Now we'll go into the Marincess stuff. 1 Marincess Wonderheart, I believe the name is. Look at this beautiful French copy. Shout out to my friend Adam for hooking me up with this at Niagara. So yeah, 1 Wonderheart. I think 1 is fine. I think any more than that would be too much since the space is too tight. But basically, if this card attacks at the end of the damage step, I believe, you can summon out 1 card that's equipped to it, and then you can just use that card to attack for more damage. You can like summon out an Anemone or a Marbled Rock, and then main phase 2 use their effects to like continue to combo. So I like this card a lot at 1. Then we have 2 copies of Marbled Rock. This is a card you're going to be going into a lot turn 1. I would really never make this card turn 1 unless for some reason I knew it would be better, because this card is usually just much better because it'll have more attack overall. It'll have 100 more than the Wonderheart will, which is strange that the Link 4 has less attack than the Link 3, but whatever. Then we have 3 Coral Anemone. This card, you don't have to play at 3. I was testing this card actually for quite some time at 2, and it never really came that much up that much, but the one thing I was doing, I was playing a Shooting Code Talker in place of the 3rd, and like that card is nice. It does come up sometimes, you know, the ability to draw and attack multiple cards, but like it's just like a kind of a win more card, and I'd rather be able to grind longer with the Anemone. 1 Crystal Heart. I think this card is fine at 1. Again, it's just extra deck space is really tight. I guess you could drop the 3rd Anemone for another one, but I think 1 is just good for now. Then we have 2 copies of Blue Slug and 1 copy of Sea Angel. Because usually once you resolve the Sea Angel, your field spells are pretty much set. It is nice because it gives you that side arrow to combo off with Mandarin, but there are other cards that we have that allow us to do that, like Anemone and the Marbled Rock. So you don't really need 2 of them. I think 2 would be too much. I just don't have the space. And then lastly, 2 copies of Totally Awesome, because you can make multiple, especially with the Paleo stuff and the bigger Frog Engine. So making 2 of these isn't entirely out of the question. So yeah, that's it for the extra deck and the main deck. Now we'll go ahead and show you guys a quick combo as well as a test hand. The combo is just going to basically be opening these 2 cards together. There's really nothing else to it. You guys have probably seen these combos all over the place, but I figured I'll just show it for the sake of doing so. Or maybe I'll just do Mandarin and Swap Frog for like the biggest Extravagant field, but and then we'll do a random test hand afterwards for going first. I'm actually going to show you guys 2 combos. This combo is going to be sort of like the all-out go for the big fancy field type thing. Marbled Rock, Totally Awesome with the field spell. And then I'm going to show you guys after this more of a conserved combo, the play that should be probably made going turn 1. That's like less susceptible to cards like Nibiru. So I think we'll show that after. So I'll show 2 combos and then we'll do a random test hand. Also, one thing I want to mention is I'm not playing Desires right now because I want to try a new draw spell. It's not really new, but again, Xylence Games and Larry in Discord gave me these ideas. It was for a card called Linkbound. I ordered some of those, and I'm going to wait for those to get here before I try them out. So that's just another idea for draw power that you guys can try out. But yeah, we'll get started with this combo, and it's basically just going to be opening up Tang and Swap Frog. We'll start with the blue Tang. We're going to dump the Seahorse to the graveyard. And at this point, like, you could dump Mandarin to the grave as well too, but Seahorse is just a bit better. I would definitely dump Mandarin if we already had Seahorse in our hand, but that's not the case. We're going to do sort of like a random interaction here, and that's going to be the Tang sort of duality effect, or Area 0, or Foxy, whatever you want to call it. So we'll go into Slug, we'll do Slug 2 and Tang 1. We're going to add back this, and we're going to reveal 3 cards off the top of our deck. We'll take the Wave that we got. That was pretty lucky. don't always expect to get that. And then from here, we'll special summon the Seahorse and link that off into a copy of our Sea Angel. Sea Angel is going to add a Marincess spell from our deck to our hand. Look at that. All 3 sign up minings right together. Perfect. Then we'll go ahead and grab our copy of the Battle Ocean just like that. And then we're going to go ahead and play the Battle Ocean down here. Then at this point, we're going to link into a, where is it? A Anemone. And then we're going to use Anemone's effect to target any Marincess or any water in our graveyard with 1500 less attack. And we're going to be able to special summon that out. So we'll go with Seahorse. And then we'll link these off into a copy of Marbled Rock. And then at this point, we're going to use a couple things. We're going to use the Field Spell Chainlink 1, Anemone Chainlink 2. We'll add back the Seahorse. And then we'll equip, 1 or 2 or 3 of these cards to our card, boosting it up to 4,500. And at this point, we're going to use the Swap Frog to discard the Seahorse again. And with that, we'll be dumping the Ronin Toad into our graveyard. And then we're going to bounce it back to our hand. Marbled Rock's going to add back a card from our grave to hand. We'll pitch again for swap. And we'll dump another swap to our graveyard. Just like this. Or we could drop the Testudo or Rot Newman if we wanted. But we've already exhausted the Anemone. So we'll do that, and then we'll use the Ronin to banish the swap, summon itself out, and we'll go ahead and link into, not link, but Xyz into a copy of Totally Awesome. So with this being said, we have a Marbled Rock at 4,500, we have Totally Awesome, and we have the ability to negate anything that they do, and also make our whole field unaffected by card effects. We still also technically have 3 cards in our hand. We get a bonus card as well off the Anemone, so kind of go plus on this whole combo anyways, which is nice. But yeah, so that's sort of like a more extravagant combo. This next combo I'm going to show you guys is a bit more like subdued and something that I'd probably do if I had to go first at like a tournament. I wouldn't try to constantly go all out like that because that's just how you're going to run into Nibiru's and things like that and whatever it may be. So yeah, this next one is just basically going to involve like the classic Blue Tang and the classic, where is it, Seahorse. So just summoning up these two, any of these 2 cards, whether it be Tang and Seahorse or Tang and Mandarin, doesn't make too big of a difference. So alright, so for this combo we're just going to start with Tang, and we're going to go ahead and dump that copy of Mandarin to the graveyard. And again, this combo is going to end on more of like a subdued field that is more resource friendly, I guess. With that last combo, we kind of had to ditch the rest of the cards that we made, the main starters we started with, like Tang and Seahorse. But with this combo, we should be able to get most of them back. So Tang is going to dump Mandarin, and while we have Seahorse in hand now, if we open up Mandarin, we would just dump Tang. So there's really not too much that changes there. Now with this, we're going to start with the Slug. We're going to go Chainlink 2, Chainlink 1. This is going to add this back. This will mill for 3. Mandarin, Ronin, and Solemn Strike. We'll take the bonus Mandarin. Why not? So like anytime your Tang goes through like that and you get to add an additional card, like you're doing pretty good. You're pretty ahead in the situation. So we added all these cards back. Now we'll special summon the Seahorse, link that off into a copy of the Sea Angel. This is where they're going to drop Phantasme if we're being realistic. And then we're going to add the Battle Ocean. We'll just go ahead and play that right in the field zone, not waste any time. Then from here, we're going to summon the Mandarin. We'll not use the one we got off of the Tang. And then here, we're just going to link these off into a copy of our Crystal Heart. We're not even going to go into Coral Anemone with this because like a lot of times turn 1 you really don't need to because you're going to be getting an additional card back off of your Marbled Rock later. So we're just going right into the unaffected Marbled Rock immediately. We're going to equip 3, boom, 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 and then this will add back the Seahorse. So we started with the same cards we started with, plus an additional one if our Blue Tang's graveyard effect goes through. And we also have the unaffected by card effects Marbled Rock, which can negate attacks if we need to. And next turn, we're still in a pretty good position because we have all the starters we started with plus 1. And we would still have 3 additional cards in our hand as well, and those could be traps. So yeah, looking pretty good there off the start. Like I said, I feel like that is the better and smarter play turn 1, is just linking off with the Crystal Heart and the Sea Angel. Because if you put the Crystal Heart in the extra monster zone, it's unaffected by card effects as is. So if they Nibiru you, you're only losing, the 1 card. And then if you have other extenders, you can continue to play underneath that. And if people aren't really familiar how this deck works, that'll catch them off guard. So yeah, I think going for that is much safer turn 1 instead of trying to combo off with Anemone. So yeah, there's that. Now we'll go ahead and do a random test hand. All right, the deck has been shuffled. We'll go ahead and split the deck as our opponent would. The triple split this time, and let's see what cards we can pick up going first. We don't really have to play against a hypothetical board here, but we can keep in mind some of the hypothetical hand traps that they might have, cards like Nibiru, Phantasma, Ash Blossom, etc., etc. And in our opening hand, we have a copy of Ash Blossom, a copy of Seahorse, a copy of Sea Archiver, a copy of Swap, and a copy of Dupe. All right, so this is a very interesting hand. There's definitely a lot we can do here. Our hand is going to be very, very prone to cards like Nibiru and Phantasme, but it is what it is. It's the nature of the deck. It does have those weak points. But we'll start with the Seahorse. We'll link it off into a copy of Slug. Slug, we'll go ahead and add that back. And then here, we'll go ahead and special summon the Seahorse again. Link that off into a copy of Here Comes Phantasme, a.k.a. Sea Angel. They'll draw 3, put back 2. And then we'll go ahead and add our field spell because we don't really care what they're doing. We're just doing our own thing. We'll add a copy of the Battle Ocean so we can start battling or something like that. I don't know. But then on that summon, we could have also proc the Sea Archiver, which we will do. So we'll summon the Sea Archiver there. And from this point on, we have a couple options, and that is to start with the Swap. We'll pitch that off and then use Swap's effect to dump the Ronin Toad into the graveyard. All 3 Mandarins sitting right next to each other. What is going on? What is going on here? There's another Swap, so we'll dump that. We can dump the Ronin a bit later. Actually, we should just dump the Ronin right now, if I'm being realistic. Let's just do that. Then from this point, we're going to go ahead and link these 2 into Anemone for reasons. Do that. Use Anemone's effect, target the Swap Frog. We could have also dumped the Testudo to the grave as well. But in order to set up Testudo, you have to have a very interesting setup. Like, you want to link into Marbled Rock first while leaving Anemone on the field, or sometimes you can just go for Anemone and try to make it unaffected by card effects. And then bring out the Testudo off Anemone, so there is definitely room to do that. All right, so from here, off the Swap, we have a couple options of cards we want to send. We can send either another Swap to the graveyard, we could send Ronin Toadin, or we could also send Testudo Arat Newman. Depending on the matchup, sending this might be the better option as a level 2 or lower Aqua, so we can send it. And with the materials we have, we could make an unaffected Anemone. And Anemone could revive this, locking us and our opponent out of special summoning anything with 1800 or higher attack. So that is an option. But for this specific video and this specific test hand, I'm just going to send Ronin Toadin to the grave. And then from here, we'll link these 2 off into a copy of the Crystal Heart. This will get banished. And then we'll go ahead and link into a copy of Anemone, just like this. And then we'll use Anemone's effect to reborn the Swap out of grave. We'll use Swap Frog's effect again. And then we'll go ahead and dump another Swap to the graveyard. And then from here, we're not going to link into the Wonder Heart. We're just going to link into Marbled Rock because we want to be able to recur resources off of it. We still have this Ash Blossom in hand, keep in mind. But we're going to use the effect of Anemone now to add back. We'll add back the Seahorse. And then we'll use the effect of Battle Ocean to equip all of these. We're actually going to leave the Crystal Heart in the graveyard for reviving it possibly later. We'll play all these cards here, and then we'll special summon the Ronin and overlay these 2 just like that. So even with just opening Seahorses, our only Marincess, with the other extenders that we opened, we're still able to end on a similar field that we ended to in one of the first combos. Additional Ash Blossom in hand and a Seahorse still coming back to our hand, unaffected by card effect Marble Rock. And we're just in a pretty good spot right now. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this Marincess deck profile. I'm finally excited. I'm super excited that all the cards from Chaos Impact are here. A lot of amazing cards in this set, so I hope you guys are just excited as I am. Again, huge shout outs to my Discord and my Twitch. I really appreciate you guys, all my Twitch subs, and all my active Discord members. I really appreciate you guys' support and everybody watching. So Thank you guys so much for, of course, the continued support. Let me know what you think about the profile down in the comment section below. Check out Imperium Duelist and my affiliate link to TCG Player to help support me and the channel. And yeah, hope you guys are having a good one. As always, when I kill signing out, we'll see you guys in the next one.